All right, I'm going to show you how to annotate the unit summary, and I'm going to give you a couple reading strategies to kind of help you in becoming a better reader. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the strategies that I listed on Canvas. So if you haven't looked at that, feel free to look at it. It's under announcements, and I believe it says tips on annotating your unit summary. So I'm going to use those right now. So the first thing is you're going to want to number your paragraphs. I always just write the number, somewhere near the paragraph. That's really important because when we're talking about what you read in class, it's easy for you to reference. Oh, well, in paragraph 2 it says this. So that's one of the reasons that I like to number the paragraphs. Okay, so the first thing is I asked you to underline or highlight key people and vocabulary. I'm going to go ahead and circle and underline because that's my kind of thing. But if you want to highlight, you're more than welcome to do that. So right off the back, I see that cabinet is a vocab word because it's bolded. National debt, bonds, strictly interpreted at the very bottom. There may be more that I find that are not bolded, but I want to underline and highlight. That's fine too. But these are the ones that kind of stand out to me right away. And then secondly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on the left side, I like to put a little title there for me so that I know what goes in the left-hand margin. That's the one sentence summary. Remember, keep it short, simple, and to the point. On the right side, I always say a question, a comment, or a picture. So question, comment, picture. You can do either of those three things in the right-hand margin. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. This is a new nation. So when George Washington took office as the first president in 1789, he was faced with a country full of problems. Okay, so right off the bat, my first question is, what kind of problems did he have? I'm curious. What kind of problems did he have that it's saying the country was full of problems, so I'm curious to what that is. Let's read on. In order to face the issues, Washington selected a group of advisors who he met with frequently, known as the cabinet. So this group of advisors he met with frequently, and they were known as cabinet. So I'm going to go to underline a group of advisors who met with him who he met with frequently, because that's going to be the definition of cabinet. So let's keep reading. These men included Thomas Jefferson as the Secretary of State, Henry Knox as the Secretary of War, Edmund Randolph as the Attorney General, and Alexander Hamilton as the Secretary of Treasury. His cabinet dealt with the major issues facing the country. Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson disagreed on the solution to many of these problems. So what I'm wondering is it keeps referencing these problems, but it still hasn't told me what these problems were. So I'm waiting to find the answer to that. And this led to the creation of the first political parties called the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans. Okay, well, right off the back, I see that it listed a bunch of different people, and I'm assuming those people are very important and that they play important roles. It listed Thomas Jefferson, Henry Knox, Edmund Randolph, Alexander Hamilton. So what I'm going to probably do is highlight them, and you can underline as well if you wanted to, but I'm going to highlight. Let me see if I can get this working. Let's see here. If I can do this. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. Let's see here. Well, for now, I guess I can just underline. So the first one is Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of State, Henry Knox as the Secretary of War, Edmund Randolph as the Attorney General, and Alexander Hamilton as Secretary of Treasury. This is his cabinet. And they helped him with dealing with the issues that the country was facing. And then we also see that Hamilton and Jefferson had a disagreement regarding some of the problems, but I don't know what those are yet. So at this point, this paragraph does not give me a lot of information, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to summarize I can either do the summary or the main idea. So I should probably put that there, main idea, because it can be either. So I'm going to go with the main idea. I feel like the main idea of this paragraph is that Washington selected a group of advisors known as his cabinet. Now, I don't have a lot of room here because my screen is small, but I'll do my best. I'm going to put here Washington selected cabinet to help him run the country. Now, obviously, I'm taking up a lot of space. You wouldn't do that. You'd write smaller. But now, on the right side, it says question, comment, or picture. My big question is, what is the problems? What are the problems that our nation was facing? I feel like that paragraph did not answer that, so I'm going to go ahead and write that as my question. So I'm going to say, what problems was our nation facing? Okay, so there I have it. I have my summary and my question on the right-hand side. Now I can go on to the next paragraph, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Now I'm not going to annotate anymore, but I want to just kind of continue modeling for you how to ask questions while you're reading, because a good reader always asks questions, is always trying to predict what's going to happen next. So I want to kind of model that for you. So the next paragraph, issue number 1, the public debt. So obviously it's telling me that we're going to be reading about the public debt. And we know that debt means money owed. Alexander Hamilton was put in charge of creating a plan that would pay off the national debt, or money the nation owed to other countries and citizens. This debt was the millions of dollars that the states borrowed from countries like France and Netherlands, as well as from American citizens during the Revolutionary War effort. Hamilton believed that the only way to establish credibility of the new nation was for the federal government to pay off the money owed to foreign nations and to the American citizens. Well, let's see, that word credibility. I know I've heard it before. I hear it a lot in history class, but I can't quite remember what that is. So I think let's see, I know it has to do with being credible. Okay? Credible. If something, and I also see that it's similar to the word credit. So I'm thinking it has something to do with maybe, believability. Like, do people believe you? Oh, maybe it means like people trust you. Okay. So Hamilton believed that the only way to establish the credibility or the ability to be trusted of the new nation was for the federal government to pay off the money. Well, I know it doesn't fit perfectly, but that kind of makes sense. He wants to make sure people trust the American nation, and if we pay them back, they're going to trust us. Okay, works for me. Let's go to the next part. It says, Congress approved of paying off other countries, but strongly opposed paying off bonds or issues of paper notes promising that the government would pay back money loaned to them by citizens in a certain amount of time. The main reason for this opposition was that many citizens sold their bonds to wealthy speculators because they needed the money right away and they were not sure they would ever be paid back. Okay, I don't quite understand this whole issue with bonds. I just know that it's a document promising to pay people back money that they loaned. Okay, but I don't quite understand the speculator. So maybe I'm going to ask Miss Ellis about that tomorrow when I see her. The next paragraph, or the next sentence says, Hamilton proposed that the money be paid back to those who held the bonds, which benefited the speculators, instead of the original owners, who were shopkeepers, farmers, and small business owners. People like Thomas Jefferson saw this as an attempt to create a wealthy class of citizens similar to Great Britain. So it sounds like Jefferson has an issue with being like Great Britain. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and work on my summary, and I'm going to create a question for this section, or maybe even a picture. Maybe I'll draw like a little document, a little money sign on it. It's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and work on that on my own. So I hope this helps you a little bit. That's how you annotate, and that's how you kind of work through a reading. You constantly be asking questions and predicting what might happen next, or you can ask questions and you're going to hope that in the next sentence or two, you're going to get the answer to your question. All right, have a great day. Bye.